A billionaire real estate mogul struts into Judge Caprio's courtroom like it's another boardroom he owns. Custom Italian suit, presidential Rolex, the kind of confidence only money or arrogance can buy. The case? A simple red light ticket. Should be 5 minutes. But the moment he speaks, you know this won't be normal. He cuts off the judge. Let's save time. What's the number? I'll write a check right now. Judge Caprio doesn't blink. Sir, this is a courtroom, not a negotiation. The billionaire laughs. Everything is a negotiation. I buy buildings. I buy companies. People like you, I buy on salary. The courtroom freezes. What comes next is one of the most brutal reality checks ever delivered from the bench. A reminder that money can buy power, but it cannot buy respect. Before we moving forward, subscribe to Case Closed and comment your city because this billionaire is about to learn the most expensive lesson of his life. Monday morning, 9:45 a.m., the bailiff calls case 16,294, Richard Ashford, violation of traffic control device, red light camera. A man in his gruely 50s strides to the podium. Not walks, strides. Everything about him screams wealth. Ermeneldo Zegna suit perfectly tailored, Hermes tie, shoes so polished they reflect the courtroom lights, diamond cufflinks catching every eye. He doesn't look nervous. He looks bored. Judge Caprio glances up. Good morning, Mr. Ashford. Morning. No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor, just morning. Like their colleagues at a coffee shop. My time is worth $200 per minute. Mr. Ashford, you're cited for running a red light at the intersection of Westminster and Weybos. The red light camera captured your vehicle, a 2024 Bentley Continental, proceeding through the intersection 1.3 seconds after the light turned red. Do you recall this incident? Richard pulls out his phone, checks something, then looks back up. Not specifically. I drive through dozens of intersections daily, but I'm sure it happened. Your cameras don't lie, right? The evidence supports the citation. Yes. Great. So, how much do I owe? He reaches into his jacket, pulls out a leather checkbook. Actual checks? Like it's 1985. Let's settle this so I can get to my 10:30 meeting. I have investors flying in from Dubai, and they don't wait. Judge Caprio's expression remains neutral, but something flickers in his eyes. Mr. Ashford, this isn't about settling. This is a court hearing to determine, with all respect, Your Honor, I know how these things work. I ran a red light. I'm guilty. I'll pay the fine. Let's not waste each other's time with theater. You tell me the number, I write the check. We both move on with our lives. Mr. Ashford, the fine for red light violation is $85. However, $85. He laughs, genuinely laughs. Your Honor, I spend more than that on lunch. Let me write you a check for $500. Consider it a donation to whatever fund you have. Traffic safety, courthouse renovations, whatever. Judge Caprio's voice gets firmer. Sir, I don't accept donations in lieu of following proper legal procedure. Richard sighs heavily, like a parent dealing with a difficult child. Look, I understand you have a process. I respect that. But I'm a businessman. Time is money. My time is worth approximately $12,000 per hour, based on my company's annual revenue and my working hours. That means every minute I stand here costs me $200. Can we expedite this? Mr. Ashford, your hourly rate doesn't change court procedure. Everything has a price, Your Honor. Everything. I've been in negotiations my entire life. There's always a way to make things move
faster, if you're willing to pay for efficiency. The courtroom is watching this unfold with growing discomfort. Is this man really trying to buy his way through a court hearing? Judge Caprio sets down his pen. Mr. Ashford, let me be clear. This court doesn't operate on your timeline or your financial principles. We operate on the law. You'll participate in this hearing like every other citizen who appears before me. Richard's smile fades slightly. I'm not every other citizen, Your Honor. I employ over 2,000 people. The line, "I own people like you," is my motto. I pay more in taxes in 1 quarter than most people earn in a lifetime. I sit on 5 corporate boards and 3 charitable foundations. My company is worth $1.8 billion. I think that entitles me to a little flexibility in how we handle an $85 traffic ticket. Judge Caprio leans back, studying Richard carefully. Mr. Ashford, your financial success is admirable. Your employment of 2,000 people is commendable. But none of that gives you special treatment in this courtroom. I'm not asking for special treatment. I'm asking for efficient treatment. There's a difference. Efficient treatment is what everyone receives here. You're getting the same process as the person who came before you and the person who will come after you. Richard's patience, what little he had, snaps. Your Honor, do you know who I am? I don't mean that as arrogance. I mean it literally. Do you know what Ashford Development Corporation is? I'm aware of your company, yes. Then you know I develop commercial real estate throughout New England, office buildings, shopping centers, luxury condos. I've built half of downtown Providence's skyline over the last 20 years. He gestures vaguely toward the window. The building 3 blocks from here, mine. The hotel across the street, mine. The parking structure where I, 5,000 fine drops, parked my Bentley this morning, also mine. I'm aware you're a significant property owner. I'm not just a property owner, I'm an economic engine for this city. When I build a project, it creates hundreds of construction jobs. When I lease space, it generates tax revenue that pays for schools, roads, police, courts. People like me, he catches himself, but doesn't stop. People like me keep cities like Providence running. Judge Caprio's expression hardens, almost imperceptibly. People like you, business leaders, developers, entrepreneurs, the people who take risks, create jobs, generate wealth, we're the ones who make everything else possible. I see. And where do people like me fit into your worldview, Mr. Ashford? Richard realizes too late that he's walked into dangerous territory, but his ego won't let him retreat. Your Honor, I didn't mean any disrespect. I'm just saying there's a hierarchy to society. Some people create value and some people maintain systems. Both are necessary, but one is more economically vital than the other. So judges maintain systems and billionaires create value. In simplest terms, yes, you enforce laws that people like me operate within. It's complementary, not competitive. Judge Caprio's voice drops to just above a whisper. Mr. Ashford, would you say I work for you? Richard hesitates. He knows this is a trap, but his arrogance propels him forward. In a philosophical sense, yes, my taxes pay your salary. The economic activity my company generates funds the court system. So in that framework, you could say public servants serve taxpayers, and I'm one of the largest taxpayers in Rhode Island. The courtroom is dead silent. People are holding their breath. So, because you pay substantial taxes, you believe I
Serve you. I believe we have a transactional relationship. I contribute to the system financially. The system provides services. That includes law enforcement, courts, infrastructure. You're part of that service infrastructure. Judge Caprio nods slowly. Service infrastructure. Interesting term for the judicial branch of government. Your Honor, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm being honest about how the world works. Money funds everything. Without taxpayers like me, there is no court system, no judges, no bailiffs, no public defenders. None of it exists without people creating wealth and paying into the system. So, we should be grateful. I didn't say that, but it's what you meant. that judges, police officers, teachers, all public servants should be grateful that wealthy taxpayers like you, First Day at Community Kitchen, allow us to exist. Richard's face flushes. You're twisting my words. I'm simply stating economic reality. Wealth creation enables public services. That's not controversial. That's basic economics. And then he says it, the sentence that changes everything. Look, Your Honor, I don't mean to be rude, but I own people like you. I own the buildings you work in. I own the roads you drive on. I own the economy that makes your salary possible. So can we please just finish this transaction so I can get back to actually creating value? Subscribe to Judge Stories if you believe respect isn't for sale. For 5 full seconds, Judge Caprio says nothing, just stares at Richard Ashford with an homeless vet's wisdom expression that could freeze fire. When he speaks, his voice is quiet but carries like thunder. Mr. Ashford, did you just tell me you own me? Richard realizes too late the magnitude of his mistake. I didn't mean it literally, I meant economically. You said, and I quote, I own people like you. There's no economic interpretation that makes that acceptable. Your Honor, I apologize if that came out wrong. I was trying to illustrate, you were trying to remind me that you're rich and I'm not. That you create value and I merely maintain systems. That you own buildings and I merely work in them. That your time is worth $200 per minute and mine is apparently worthless. That's not what Let me tell you something, Mr. Ashford. I've been a judge for over 30 years. I've seen billionaires and I've seen broke college students. I've seen corporate executives and homeless veterans. And you know what I've learned? Money doesn't determine character. Power doesn't create wisdom. And wealth absolutely does not buy respect. Richard is pale now. Your Honor, I sincerely apologize. I was out of line. You were more than out of line. You were contemptuous. You walked into this courtroom believing your $1.8 billion exempts you from basic human decency. You treated this hearing like a business transaction where you could simply pay your way out. And when I didn't immediately bow to your financial superiority, you told me you own me. I didn't mean... Stop talking. Richard's mouth snaps shut. Judge Caprio opens his computer, types slowly and deliberately. The courtroom is so quiet you can hear people breathing. Mr. Rashford, the standard fine for running a red light is $85. That's what you came here expecting to pay. But we're not in a standard situation anymore. He looks up, makes direct eye contact. Under Rhode Island General Law 813, judges have discretion to enhance penalties when defendants demonstrate contempt for judicial authority or when their behavior suggests disregard for public safety and the rule of law. Your behavior today has been textbook contempt.
You've referred to court proceedings as theater. You've attempted to expedite justice by offering to overpay. You've suggested that your time is more valuable than court time. You've stated that public servants exist because wealthy people allow them to exist. And you've told the sitting judge that you own him. Richard's hands are shaking. Your Honor, I'll pay any fine. I'll donate to any cause. Just please... Your fine for the red light violation is increased from $85 to $5,000. The courtroom gasps. Richard's face goes white. $5,000 for running a red light 1.3 seconds late? Learning humility the hard way. No, $85 for the red light. $4,915 for contempt of court. That's insane! You can't charge me $5,000 for speaking honestly about economics. I'm not charging you for speaking honestly. I'm charging you for contempt, for treating this court like a business transaction, for suggesting that money exempts you from respect, for telling me you own me. Richard's voice rises.
I apologized for that. I said it came out wrong. You apologized after you saw my reaction. That's not remorse. That's damage control. This is an abuse of judicial power. I'll appeal this. My lawyers will. Please do appeal. I encourage it. Because every appellate court in Rhode Island will review the video of you telling a judge, I own people like you. I'm confident they'll uphold my ruling. Richard tries another tactic. Your Honor, I employ 2,000 people. I have a company to run. I have investors, clients, obligations. And I have a courtroom to run, with rules that apply equally to everyone. Billionaire or broke, real estate mogul or unemployed single parent. In this room, your $1.8 billion means nothing. Judge Caprio isn't finished. But, Mr. Ashford, I'm going to do something else. Something I rarely do.
I'm going to teach you a lesson your money apparently hasn't taught you. He makes more notes. In addition to the $5,000 fine, I'm ordering you to complete 50 hours of community service. Community service? I'm a CEO. I don't have time for You'll make time. You told me your time is worth $200 per minute, so 50 hours of your time equals $600,000 in value. Consider it a donation to the community you claim to support. Richard is shaking with rage. Where exactly am I supposed to do this community service? I'm assigning you to Providence Community Kitchen. They serve meals to homeless individuals and low-income families. You'll work in the kitchen, serving food, cleaning dishes, taking out trash, whatever they need. You're assigning a billionaire to wash dishes? I'm assigning a man who needs humility to serve people he's clearly never noticed. Maybe spending 50 hours with people who struggle to afford meals will teach you that human value isn't the anonymous donation that says everything measured in dollars. This is humiliating. No, Mr. Ashford, this is accountability. Judge Caprio signals the clerk. Mr. Ashford, you have 30 days to pay the $5,000 fine. You have 90 days to complete your 50 hours of community service. Failure to comply will result in a warrant for your arrest. Do you understand? Richard can barely speak. Yes. And, Mr. Ashford, one more thing. You mentioned that you own the building 3 blocks from here and the parking structure where you parked your Bentley. You implied that your property ownership gives you some special status in this city. Let me tell you what you don't own. You don't own justice, you don't own respect, you don't own the rule of law, and you absolutely do not own the people
who dedicate their lives to public service. I grew up in a working-class neighborhood. My father was a janitor, my mother cleaned houses. They taught me that a person's worth has nothing to do with their bank account, everything to do with their character. Your character today was lacking. Richard nods, humiliated, unable to make eye contact. You're dismissed. I suggest you get to your Dubai investors meeting, though I imagine it'll be hard to focus, knowing you're now $5,000 poorer and facing 50 hours washing dishes. Richard walks out, head down, past rows of people staring. Some are smirking, some are satisfied. All of them just watched a billionaire get destroyed. Outside the courthouse, Richard calls his lawyer, screams about appealing. The lawyer pulls up the courtroom video, watches Richard say, I own people like you, and responds, Richard, if you appeal this, every news outlet in America will cover it. You'll become the poster child for entitled billionaires. Pay the fine, do the service, and never speak to a judge like that again. 3 weeks later, Richard shows up at Providence Community Kitchen for his first shift, wearing jeans and a polo, still expensive, but attempting to blend in. The kitchen manager, Maria, a 62-year-old woman who's run the facility for 20 years, looks him up and down. You're the billionaire the judge sent. Yes, ma'am. You ever worked in a kitchen before? No, ma'am. Then you'll be on dishes. Follow me.
Richard spends 4 hours washing dishes, scrubbing pots, taking out garbage. His hands get wrinkled. His back hurts. He sees hundreds of people come through. Families, elderly folks, veterans, people who look just like anyone you'd pass on the street, but who need help affording meals. During his break, he sits outside. A homeless veteran
sits next to him. You're that rich guy from the news, right? The one who told the judge he owns people? Richard winces. Yeah, that's me. That was stupid. Yeah, it was. The veteran lights a cigarette. You know what? You don't own dignity. Can't buy that, can't sell it. Either you have it or you don't. Today you didn't have it. But you're here washing dishes. So maybe you're learning. By his 20th hour of service, Richard is different, quieter, more thoughtful. He notices people, learns names, asks about their stories. By his 50th hour, the final shift, Maria pulls him aside. You surprise me. Most rich people the judge sends quit after 3 hours. You finished. You showed up every shift. You worked hard. Maybe you learned something. I did. I learned I was an arrogant who thought money made me better than people. It doesn't. I'm sorry it took a judge destroying me to figure that out. 6 months later, Providence Community Kitchen receives an anonymous donation, $500,000. The donor note says, for food, supplies, and dignity. Someone who learned respect the hard way. Maria knows who sent it. Subscribe to Judge Stories now for moments when billionaires learn money can't buy class and when 50 hours washing dishes teaches what $1.8 billion couldn't. Richard Ashford walked into court worth $1.8 billion. He left $5,000 poorer, 50 hours of labor committed, and infinitely humbled. Judge Caprio proved that courtrooms are the ultimate equalizer. Your net worth doesn't matter. Your property portfolio doesn't impress. Your tax contribution doesn't buy special treatment. And telling a judge, I own people like you, costs exactly $5,000 plus 50 hours of your life. This is what happens when a billionaire forgets that respect isn't a currency. When power makes someone believe they can speak down to everyone else, and then they meet a judge who refuses to bow. He thought owning skyscrapers, hotels, and office towers meant he owned the people inside them. But Judge Caprio reminded him something brutal and beautifully simple. You don't measure a person by what they own, but by how they treat others. That day, Richard didn't just lose a case. He lost the illusion that money equals importance. Because you can purchase influence, you can purchase attention, but you can't purchase dignity. And you definitely can't purchase a judge's respect. Subscribe to Case Closed, where real stories prove that character outlives wealth and dignity outlives power.